podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Audible.com. To download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/Android. And by Netflix. Watch thousands of TV episodes and movies on your PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, Android device, or TV instantly. All streamed directly to you, saving you time, money, and hassle. For your free 30-day trial, go to netflix.com/twit.
Welcome to All About Android, episode 57, recorded on Monday, April 23rd, 2012. This is your weekly source for all the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Eileen Rivera.
I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
And you know what? Before we intro our guest, this week we're going to court. We need a gavel. We're going to court.
Oh, wait.
I had no idea we were going to court.
On the show?
We're sort of going to court. That's whatever. We have some new gadgets to talk about, sort of, maybe. And Ron's going to talk a little bit about Google TV.
Yeah, we got a little bit of an update that we're going to talk about. So, yeah.
All right. Now, we have an awesome guest. Yeah. Matt Macari, patent attorney, writer for The Verge. Hello.
Welcome back.
Hello. How are you?
You know why we have you on is because
you
are going to help.
Oh,
no.
We have to have Matt on when there's not a case going on. Yeah.
That's so not fair. Yeah, Matt, you are welcome to come back on the show when we don't have any patents to talk about or anything. How's that?
All right, I will.
Okay, very cool. But you
I won't have anything to say, but
now you tell.
Well, there's that. Okay, all right.
But thank you so much for being on the show because we need you. So let's go ahead and dive into our news.
All right. So, well, I guess basically we have Matt because we have this whole Oracle and Google trial happening right now. And if you haven't been following it, I mean, it basically started a week ago. Last Monday, actually, on our last show, Matt, you were kind enough to write us just a bunch of information to read on the show. And so we kind of, talked about that a little bit. A lot's happened in the last week. There've actually been a lot of kind of key people tied to the case brought into court. And in fact, today, Andy Rubin, at the very end of the court date today, was kind of brought into the fold. So maybe it's best to just kind of start, since we actually have you on the show this time, and we don't, do a horrible job butchering kind of the big picture here, kind of exactly why this is a big deal between Oracle and Google.
Wow.
Where to start?
Well, yeah, there's the primary phases. You have the copyright phase, which is going on right now, and that's the one that started last week. And then the patent phase, which starts probably in a few days. Mm-hmm. But it's really about copyright infringement at this time and the defenses against that. And it was I watched the show, and you guys nailed the description, so I don't know how much I need to go into the detail, but okay. It's it's about it comes down to these groups of APIs that Android uses, and that's kind of what Sun held back, and that's what Oracle's saying they held back and have the copyrights on, and it's all about that, not about Java in general. So what's happened is they've gone to trial over those infringement issues on the copyright side last week, and it's going at a lightning pace because these federal cases, patent or copyright, can go for weeks on end. And this copyright phase is going to be done. I think Oracle is going to be done putting their main case together, their last witnesses, tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have Rubin on again tomorrow because he barely got any testimony in today. And then I think they're going to have Eric Schmidt tomorrow as well.
A lot to follow up on there. Now, you made mention last week in the stuff that we kind of read on the show about this Tim Lindholm 2010 email where he basically stated the need to negotiate a license for Java, how that could be kind of a pivotal wrinkle in the case. Now, Lindholm took the stand, I believe it was last Friday. Was this as pivotal, do you think, as you had expected before he took the stand? Did anything kind of come out of his appearance?
Actually, his appearance, no. his emails, and there's more than just that one email. We've come to find a bunch of them that are kind of between Andy Rubin and some other team members, including Lindholm. And his testimony, he basically kind of dismissed it all, as he wasn't really saying you had to have a license from Sun. He was just saying they needed to possibly work out a license in general. And I think Oracle was comfortable saying, okay, we'll let the jury figure out whether they believe you or not. Mm-hmm. And so they let him go without really, I don't think he was on there very long at all. But those emails keep coming up, and they've already been introduced today with Rubin. So with Andy Rubin's testimony, what they're trying to get at is the details of what they knew and what they had access to when they were developing the APIs, and kind of how they went into it, whether they went into it with some sort of knowledge that they needed a license and they weren't going to do it.
Right.
And then from there, that's kind of the copyright one-on-one stuff. Is you have the copying, but you have to prove access to the actual material. And there's been testimony about whether or not there was a clean room put in place at Google, and it's pretty clear there wasn't. And there's actually an email came in today. I don't think they've gotten into it very much, but there's an email from Rubin to Tim Lindholm, I think, that says, basically, I don't think the clean room idea is going to work here. We have too many past employees from Sun. There's really no way to use that as leverage or even for it to have any effect at all. So I think that's pretty clear that wasn't the case. Now, all of this looks really bad right now for Google.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. How are things looking for Google?
We're looking at Oracle's case right now. This is Oracle's case in chief. This is when they present all their infringement evidence. They have the burden, and they have a lot of stuff to prove up. And also they have to go through all the details and the nuances and the pain of explaining to a jury all of this API, all the nuances of that. And it's not something that's easily understood by really many people at all, let alone a jury of people that don't have any tech background. So they're really trying to paint a picture right now. The best part of their case is kind of this idea that trying to paint Google as a bad actor that went into this knowing, eyes wide open.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's necessarily an accurate description of what you're going to see. Obviously, next week or this coming week later on, when you see Google put its case together.
I see, and it could be a reversal there. Yeah, I mean, when you take a look at some of the Andy Rubin emails that Oracle is presenting in their case, I mean, it's exactly like you said. It really kind of paints it in this kind of way that really makes it sound like Google knew exactly what they were doing. In 2005, he said in an email, "My proposal is that we take a license that specifically grants the right for us to open source our product. We'll pay Sun for the license and the TCK," which kind of implies that he knew that they probably needed to pay for these parts of Java. Then in 2007, he says, "We're building a platform where the entire purpose is to let people differentiate on top of it." And Oracle is highlighting this on their side of the case, basically saying this goes counter to the requirements of Phone ME, which is Java Mobile Edition. And that's the platform that Android is built on, which, I mean, if you take a look at Android, that's exactly what it is. Everybody's building, and differentiating on top of it. So it's like they knew on one hand that potentially the way that they were developing Android kind of went counter to, possibly the requirements of Java.
The big thing there is, I mean, there's actually an email from Rubin that came in today, and I think it was, I don't know if it was talked about, but it will be tomorrow, was basically he said he knew it was copyrighted. Mm-hmm. Not that he believed it was copyrightable, rightfully copyrightable, that he thought it was okay to copyright APIs, but that he knew it was copyright, that they had filed copyright protection on it.
And is that kind of like quintessentially the point of this case, which is not necessarily that it was copyrighted, but that in a bigger picture, can it be copyrightable?
Yeah, that's a huge. That's kind of the cloud that's over this whole phase, and the judge decided to put that decision off. That's a matter of law for the judge to decide, and he's decided to wait till the entire case is presented to the jury, let the jury deliberate, being instructed that it is copyrightable, and see what they come back with. And so the idea is there, if they come back with a verdict of non-infringement, then he doesn't ever have to decide the issue of whether or not APIs are copyrightable, because the copyright case goes away. Then if they do come back and say it's copyrighted, or it's infringed, then he has to decide, okay, that's fine. Now I have to decide whether or not it's rightfully copyrightable.
I see.
So, and they've briefed it. They briefed it before the trial. They briefed it yesterday again, or they provided supplemental briefs and explanations. So they're both trying to couch the argument. Google wants to look at it as a dictionary. It's like having a dictionary with words. You can't copyright that, or an alphabet or something like that. There's no creative aspect to it, which is a fundamental requirement of copywriting something. Whereas Oracle says it requires more creativity and original work than just pre-existing letters and pre-existing variables and things like that you might have in the code.
How important would you say Andy Rubin's testimony is in the big picture? I mean, he's a big player in all this, and actually, when you go through kind of a lot of the stuff that Oracle is presenting, his name is attached to most of this stuff, be it emails that he wrote or was CC'd on. So you know that he was at least kept in the loop along the way. Does his testimony in this case carry more weight than anybody else at this point?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that go into the trial. One is the theatrics, which you get with someone like Ellison, or maybe even Eric Schmidt. But what you really get with Rubin, and the reason we've been kind of looking forward to this day, and it didn't really happen, it's going to happen tomorrow, right, is the idea that he's really kind of part of even the layered details he's going to have a lot of knowledge at. And the big picture is really about him too, because you can see it from the beginning all the way till now. So he's critical. I mean, and like I said, I think other than Eric Schmidt, he's the last guy up. So, I mean, they kind of want to go out with a bang. I think Oracle does, and I mean, they're not. I don't think he's a smart guy. They're not going to get him to, surrender. But
courtroom drama.
Yeah, we want to see this drama.
But he's got enough stuff that if they phrase their questions correctly, they can get a lot of yeses to questions that sound damning.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the goal. But like I said, Google's side of it is, when you start to see that unfold this week, you'll see some of the common sense defenses they have. Which one is it's 37 APIs out of 500. It's several lines of code in each. It's not copyrightable. Although they won't argue that to the jury because that's not for the jury to decide. And there's a fair use element in there, whether or not if I have a right to use Java, why don't I have a right to use the APIs?
Yeah, especially considering Java might be somewhat useless if not for those APIs in some ways.
So those things are all what you're going to hear this week come out, and it'll start to balance out. It always happens this way. It happens to me all the time when I read a brief from one side. I'll say, wow, that's really convincing. Then I'll read the other side's brief, and I'll say, well, that's really convincing. So generally, the two sides of the story, I mean, this thing's gone to trial for a reason. And if it was a clear winner, and you got to remember also that Oracle, I keep saying that, Google has already indicated at trial that they've taken this infringing code out of ICS. So they're ideally, assuming that's correct, they're looking more at a damages case than they are an injunction, because you're looking at a product going forward that doesn't infringe anymore. Again, if it really is out of there, the code, then you're talking about past damages, which obviously Google can afford. And you're talking, you can't shut them down, and you won't be able to shut down them with an injunction. And really, that was the most problematic part of the whole case, patent or copyright, for Google, was whether or not they were going to have to face an injunction in the end.
Right. Well, that, answers my next question about consequences. I guess that's probably a good thing. Google could certainly, I have to imagine, well, yes, okay, Google could shoulder those damages if need be.
What is it? It's not cheap. But it's less than $1 billion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For Google, it's cheap in the grand scheme of things, and especially in the grand scheme of just what kind of a behemoth they have behind Android in particular.
They've been wanting to settle too. So
yeah, they've been wanting to settle, but to settle at the right price. I mean, and Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but the risk that not the risk, but the chance they take by going to court is that they, it could be found in their favor and they don't have to pay as much, or maybe even at all. What are the likelihood that money will change hands at the end of this case? Probably pretty likely.
Well, there's also a chance it could settle before the. I mean, you can get all the way through jury deliberations and settle.
Yeah,
I mean, it happens all the time. So, I don't know. I think my gut is that Google would have settled a long time ago. Oracle's sticking to their guns right here. So we'll see in the end. But it's going to be really curious because Oracle's going to have a different opinion about whether or not the new ICS operating system doesn't incorporate that infringing code. Something tells me they might disagree, but so far it's just been kind of a statement I've heard.
A statement coming from Google that is the case.
Eliminated that infringing code if it's actually infringing.
Right.
It's kind of an alternative argument. Well, even if you do think it's infringing, we don't have it anymore in the most recent versions. Now, obviously, there's a lot of versions out there that don't. There are a lot of phones out there that don't have ICS. But you can't really do anything about that except for pay for past damages. You kind of pay for that, and then you're okay.
Yeah, it would be very difficult, I would imagine, for Google to then have to ask for all those phones back or send out an update to all those phones.
That's why they have money damages to kind of make Oracle whole if they need to.
Right. Well, that's great. Do you guys have any other questions? Or
this is crazy.
It's
legal drama.
Thankfully, it sounds like there's a lot more to follow this week in particular coming from the Oracle side. And then next week kind of it turns the tide and goes over the Google side. Undoubtedly, I won't be here next week and for the next couple of weeks. But
I know, yeah.
This time next week, they'll probably, if they haven't deliberated and decided already, they should be in the middle of it because Google's case starts probably Wednesday, their defense of copyright. And each side's only got 17 hours total, counting their witnesses and defending or cross-examining the other side's witnesses. And I know Oracle's already 2/3 of the way through their time.
Right.
So it's going really fast. It's very unusual for this.
I was about to ask how unusual that was for this case to be so sped up.
I feel like similar cases would take forever. This seems
why
to be
is this? Was there some sort of
Judge Alsop? He's a stickler.
Oh, good.
He wants his courtroom to run. He wants it to run efficiently.
I love people like that. Efficient.
Yes. No, it's good because he knows that this would just kill a jury over 6 months or 6 weeks.
Oh, that poor jury. Can you imagine?
I know.
If you don't know anything about technology and you're being asked to serve on this case, and there's so much vocabulary to learn.
The crazy thing is you could know a lot about technology and still be completely dumbfounded by this case because of the level of detail in what open source is and what an SDK is. And
I thought I did until I started really getting into the nuances. And
absolutely.
Brian Bishop's in the courtroom every day for us. He has been all last week and then this week. And he keeps a close eye on the jury. And he can tell when there's certain witnesses that are getting through and the rest of them, they just kind of zone off.
Glaze.
Yeah.
They have no idea what's going on. They look very almost annoyed that they're being forced to listen to this.
I would be too. And I'm, obviously more invested than some of those jurors
I'd
probably
see it as
are.
a free education and something pretty detailed.
I don't even know if I can soak all of it in.
Yeah, I don't think the general public would share that opinion. It's more like
Nilay and I, we said it'd be exciting, and Brian's enjoying himself too because there's a lot of kind of gamesmanship going back between the lawyers and the judge. It's fun to watch at times, but he's Nilay and I think I would love to be in there actually at least for a while. I wouldn't want to be in there like 2 or 3 weeks, but
I would love to be in there tomorrow for Eric Schmidt because Schmidt has a great way of saying things that you want to.
Well, and Andy Rubin's got to go back too, right? So you've got two people that would be very interesting to hear.
They're ending with him for a reason because they probably think they can get him to say something crazy.
I would imagine he might, if past history says anything.
The lawyer's probably ringing his ear. Exactly. I'm ready for Eric tomorrow. I'm ready.
Well, Matt, you guys do a great job of covering this, you and Brian Bishop at The Verge. So thank you for all of your coverage, and thank you even more for just coming on the show and helping us to understand this very complex case. We really appreciate it. Yeah,
we'll come back on and we'll figure out the patent side next time, right?
All right.
It's it's even more boring.
Well, I was going to say it was cut down from 7 to 2 patents, and they are not that.
They're pretty
important.
insignificant, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool. And that insignificant. We'll definitely bring you back. Any reason to actually get you back on, to be honest. But Matt, thank you again. Is there anything else that you want to plug since we have you?
No. Just we're going to have some good coverage tomorrow, I think, on The Verge for those 2 witnesses. So just check it out, and we'll try to look through it all. There's going to be a lot of. It's not going to be too boring tomorrow. I think it's going to be a lot more interesting. Like I said, theatrics.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Great. All right. Well, check that out. You can follow that on The Verge. And thanks again, Matt. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Good luck. All right. See ya.
Bye, Matt.
All right.
Hey, before we move forward,
Yes.
those of you watching video are probably wondering, we didn't make any indication about this big box here, but Captain Temerity came back and brought us cupcakes.
Amazing. Yet again.
And more.
Yes. And we are going to torture ourselves.
Yes.
They're going to mock us throughout the entire episode. And then
look at these
reward
cupcakes.
Will be
if this
the
show
cupcake.
is shorter than normal, it's because of the cupcakes. So sorry,
I feel like after all that legal discussion, a cupcake is really the only way that you can come down from the legalese.
How about this? You guys go ahead and serve yourself up a cupcake. I'm going to read our first sponsor. Right. Is that
I'll hold
okay?
that. I'd rather
hold
that.
It's better if you wait.
How about Chad's back there?
Yeah, exactly.
He wants one too. So we'll hold back.
Well, just real quick, this episode of All About Android is brought to you by Audible.com. Audible is the leading provider of audiobooks with more than 100,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature. That's including fiction, nonfiction, periodicals. For listeners of our show, All About Android, Audible is actually offering you a free audiobook to give it a chance to try out their service. So you can go to the Audible site. I know that the Hunger Games is a big deal right now. To be completely honest, the Hunger Games was something I had never heard of, rarely heard of, and then suddenly it seemed like everybody was talking about it, and there's a movie, and it's doing fantastic.
Doing insane.
The audiobook is on Audible, and you can...
Good.
Yeah, and I've heard that the book is better than the movie.
Well, it usually is.
Yeah,
Any questions about movies being able with strong female leads? Hunger Games is
Hunger
blown away.
Games is
totally,
definitely absolutely. It is fantastic trilogy and a book that I did not want to end at the very end.
Oh, really?
I actually kind of put it. I was like, okay, one chapter at a time, one chapter at a time. As I was getting closer to the end, because
you
I
wanted
didn't
to stretch it out. You didn't want the dream to die.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Well, with an audiobook, you know exactly how much time you have left. And that's either a good or a bad thing when it comes to a book that you really don't want to end. Yep. Because you're like, 30 minutes? That's all I have left? Anyways, you can check out The Hunger Games or tons of other books. I'm a big fan of just bios and autobiographies, and there are a ton of them on there, music bios and film bios and all that. I'm a nut for those. Just go and check it out. Scan through the catalog and see what you find, and you can download that audiobook for free. Or any of your choice. It's really up to you. Go to audiblepodcast.com/Android. That's audiblepodcast.com/Android. And thank you, Audible, for continuing to support All About Android. We love you. We do.
And don't forget the Android app. You will have all your library on your app. Even if you don't have it loaded on your phone, like I've already read Bossy Pants. Yeah, that's over. But I have many, everything that I can read it again. Yeah. So
is it reading? Listening?
Yes.
You say you read a book after you listened to it?
That's a tricky question.
Yeah.
I think people sit on one side or another. I have gone back and forth. I think I've finally settled on yes, I read it.
It is.
Okay.
It's the same experience. It's the same content. Right. It's a different way of consuming it, but in the end, you have the same knowledge of the story, right?
It's like getting read a bedtime story, you
know,
as a kid, or if you read to
I
your
read
kids.
Goodnight Moon.
Yeah, there you go.
Sometimes I just read it to myself to put myself to sleep. So.
Sometimes I read it every single night to my daughter.
There you go. See?
Even if I don't want to, I'm reading. Yes,
through Jason.
That's right.
So there you go.
She's learning how to read.
Is it weird that I read it to myself? Is that weird? No, is that right? Is that weird that I read it to myself?
It's okay.
It's fine. It's okay, Ron.
All right,
it's okay.
Record yourself doing it next time, and then you can sell it as an audio.
Well,
no, you
might
probably
be onto
couldn't,
something.
actually.
There you go. Wait a minute.
Unless it's your own book.
Yeah.
Write a book and then read it to yourself, and then you've got something. All right, let's jump into hardware. And And we got some stuff to talk about.
Not only do we got some stuff, we got some rumors to talk about. In fact, it is a Samsung Galaxy S3 rumor palooza. So we're going to come at you hard and fast with sorry about that. We're going to come at you with some rumors. First off, CNET's got some video of a teaser video that Samsung launched that takes a little subtle shot at Apple. Surprise, surprise. Let's watch it and see what everyone thinks. For those listening, it's a very...
Don't full screen, yeah. I don't want to risk it.
So
truly smart technology becomes a natural part of life. They're doing a little Aurora Borealis action here.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks like Earth.
This teaser, I didn't know what it was, and Sarah Lane was previewing it before TNT at her desk, and I was like, somebody's playing an action movie with the music, and then I realized it was this teaser
now
video.
we're in
Very
the
Star
out the
Trek-y.
universe.
The galaxy.
Galaxy.
Your view of the world grows even wider.
It's setting the scene. It's a long ad. It's a minute long.
Yeah, it's a teaser.
And again, visuals are all the galaxy
As you gain
stars.
the power to explore it freely and swiftly. Action
Very
verbs.
epic music.
Yeah.
With technology that fits in this easily. You can now stand out from
Sheep.
everyone else.
There's a bunch of sheep. ...
And
everyone else.
that's one sheep, by the way.
And then there's that blotch of like
Blue and
purple,
white.
blue and white
Yeah,
paint.
it's like a blue and white.
And then it just
paint
says
drops.
Samsung Mobile Unpacked 2012, and we know that there's
Yeah,
going
see,
to be a
there's
big
the-
announcement.
Wow, good catch on the blop. There
Yeah.
you go. That's pretty cool.
And then there's going to be that's on the invitation. Actually.
Right, yeah,
The
no,
blobs are
but
on
where
the
he paused it.
invitation.
He paused it on a nice spot.
And so yes, May 3rd, there's a big Samsung event like we talked about last week in London.
So who knows what the blobs mean?
I know.
That was...
I think the phones is going to be in a couple of colors.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
color
might be right
choices.
now.
That's
I
my
like
guess.
the
Yeah.
blue.
Yeah, which would be a little bit of a change. But the rumors continue. That's not just it. Over on The Verge, they were talking about the fact that the Galaxy S2 successor, the 3, might have a quad-core processor with superlative benchmarks. And that's what will be shown on May 3rd.
Yeah, I've also seen some rumors that say it's a marginal upgrade from the current one.
Well, it's a superlative benchmark versus a marginal upgrade. This is all just a turn of phrase, really. And then also on The Verge, they're saying that the latest alleged leak is not accurate. The name is still unconfirmed, and that it's got the tightest security ever for a Samsung event. So it looks like how much of this is hype building versus...
The thing, I honestly don't feel the same kind of buzz as I felt with the Galaxy Nexus.
Yeah.
You know, this is just kind of happening, and I don't. Maybe that's just me.
I'm
don't
right there
really
with it. Yeah,
feel
yeah. If we weren't actively researching the show, this wouldn't even be on my radar at this point. You know, so
I think
maybe it's
so.
because I have a phone. I'm super happy with my Galaxy Nexus, but
They're kind of different beasts too, though, right? Because before
it's also international.
Before the Galaxy Nexus, the S2 was a really big deal. It was a great. It's a
big
great
deal.
design phone.
But
and
we
everything.
also, in the United States, we waited a long time for it. I mean, it was out overseas for a long time, and so that's why I think a lot of us here in the United States were like, "Gosh, that phone is supposed to be so good. Where is it? Where is it?" And we finally got it.
Did the buzz on the S2 match the buzz for the Nexus S and the Nexus S 4G?
I feel like maybe a little closer, but I think the Nexus was still.
But by the time the S2 was coming out, that had kind of burned off. Do you think we still have that same kind of passion around the Galaxy Nexus? And that's...
I don't know if there's that much passion around the Galaxy Nexus.
I feel like it's kind of burned off a little bit. I mean, Verizon just dropped the price of theirs to $200 to match Sprint, who now actually has... A little tangent here, but Sprint now has the Galaxy Nexus for sale, $200. So the price is coming down on that. So it's no longer like that premium $300 price point, which makes it even more worth it. But I feel the same way about the S3. I think people are excited about it because it's following on the heels of a really successful, well-designed phone. I just wonder how much of an upgrade it's going to be.
Is it this cosmic shift? What they're positioning it to be, and with this tight security, like are people really banging on the doors of this? To get more information.
This phone better be freaking amazing when the announcement happens. Otherwise, I mean, I think the only other phone that's causing a little bit more of a buzz at this point is the One X that's coming out pretty soon.
Yep.
So that to me, the HTC series has been getting a lot more buzz than even this S3, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm not sure. This phone better be fantastic.
Well, it might be fantastic because it might have appeared in Vietnam.
Oh, they get everything over there.
Engadget's got a video, which I don't know if we can roll, of some possible in the wild.
But they have it covered, so what you're seeing is not actually like the look of the device. But they purport to be showing off the actual S3.
Yep.
So the rumors are 4.6 or 4.7, right? size-wise.
I was thinking it was 4.7, but I could be wrong. I get these all.
I think it's just
destroyed.
rumors, right? One story
That's
is
true.
4.6.
I'm
They're
not
saying-
wrong.
okay,
if
so-
I
So
say
according
4.7.
to these leaks, it's saying it's got a 4.6-inch display, 720 by 1184 resolution, and with the quad-core 1.4 gigahertz processor. Run an ice cream sandwich. So whether or not you believe that or not, again, it's a leak.
Yeah.
Who knows what to believe these days? And furthermore, if you don't know what you want to believe, over on PocketLint, they're reporting that the Samsung S Cloud reported to launch with the Galaxy S3. I want to say the Galaxy 2 instead of the Galaxy S. The Galaxy S3 possibly could be SkyDrive powered, which is
Samsung's own cloud service.
Yep.
Is that a big deal?
I mean, the cloud.
feel like
the
they
cloud.
all
Well,
kinda
with
have
the rumors
cloud
of the Google Drive,
Right.
Yeah.
with G Drive coming out there. I mean, this cloud storage thing. I mean, imagine if
It's a big deal right now.
Yeah.
Cloud storage, everybody's trying to get in on the heels of it.
Yep. So if by getting a Samsung Galaxy S3, you also get, Samsung branded cloud drive storage that you could work with it.
Storage.
That's not too bad.
Oh, just another place for me to hoard my
Digital
I know,
hoarding.
but aren't we kind of getting to this point though, where like suddenly we have cloud storage everywhere?
Well, that's what we were
How
saying a couple
on
of weeks
earth
ago,
do we
and I was
manage
saying, just gonna be a
this?
digital hoarder. I'm just uploading raw photos.
I know, and you don't know
Nonstop.
where it goes.
Who cares?
and-
It's free.
Totally.
Thanks.
What's great is that it's all data. It's not actually physical space, so it doesn't. You just put whatever you want.
It's not my space.
Yeah, I'm just
It's
gonna
virtual
scan, I'm
space.
scanning everything in my house and uploading it to the cloud. That's it. I'm just gonna get a storage locker.
You just
and
want
live
to
in
make
it.
sure you use up all of it.
Everybody's pointing out SkyDrive is a Microsoft
Oh,
thing.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Who knows?
All right. So we'll go ahead and take an email on this next one. There is no name on here.
Oh, sorry. I'll look it up.
I listen to the show weekly and have ever since getting my first Android device. I also have the Asus Transformer. I am quickly approaching the upgrade mark for my family's T-Mobile plan and was wondering if you know of any good devices on that network now or in the next 2 months, as I will most likely be upgrading when given the chance in June. So basically, a person whose name I don't know yet, but hopefully soon, Samsung Gravity T is his current phone. And he wants to upgrade to another phone on T-Mobile and would like something that's a little bit smarter, in air quotes, than that. Well, I might have the phone for you, actually.
Dun-dun-dun.
It just released. It's called the HTC
It's Christopher.
One S. Christopher. Thank you, Christopher. And thanks for looking that up. The HTC One S. I've been playing around with this. It's on the T-Mobile HSPA Plus network.
Are we allowed to talk about this now?
Oh, yeah.
Can we recant what happened last week?
Wait,
Well,
what
I
happened?
had it last Monday, but I
Right.
couldn't talk about it.
But what
'cause-
happened before the show? When so I roll into the studio. You're in Eileen's in
Yeah.
Vegas. Jason's sitting there working his desk, and he goes, "Oh, get a load of this," and hands me this, and I was floored by this phone. It's thin. Talk about nice design, and especially considering I had the Nexus 1 back in the day. This was I was like, wow, this is it reminded me of the Nexus 1.
It does look like the Nexus
and
1. Look at that screen.
It's a nice phone. It's a nice phone.
And
Yeah,
it's
it is.
4.3. Thank you, HTC, for
Yep.
not making another 4-gazillion big ass phone.
Or 4.7.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Unfortunately, it's on T-Mobile. But
it's a really good phone.
It's a nice phone.
At so I recorded my review for Before You Buy. It'll be in this Friday's episode of Before You Buy, twit.tv/BOIB plug. And I recorded the review today, and the best way to put it, and I said it at the end of the review, is I didn't want this review to end because I really enjoyed using this phone.
Yeah, it's a nice.
And it's very
Can I see it
interesting
again?
because I have been
Can I
using
see it?
Yeah.
John's like,
been
can I
using
just touch it?
obviously
Yeah, I
I have the
know.
Galaxy Nexus, which is kind of like the quintessential Samsung design, from the plasticky back to just kind of
So clear. It looks
the
so
way that they
real.
designed this phone is very Samsung. That's very HTC, and you know that's a noted difference when you hold them side by side in your hands. They're great for different reasons, but I've always loved HTC's build quality. And it's hard to go back to the kind of plastic feel when that just aluminum, anodized unibody casing is just so pleasant. But super great phone. I thought it was awesome. It's $200 on contract for T-Mobile. So maybe you could check this out. And if you're still on the fence, check out the review later this week. Also making the news was the HTC One X on AT&T's network. That is $199 on a 2-year contract, May 6th. I thought it was more than that. Did I paste in the wrong one here? Is it $199 or $299? I thought it was $199. I'm going to go with that. It's on AT&T's 4G LTE network, 4.7-inch display versus the 4.3-inch on the One S. And similar processor, 1.5 gigahertz dual core Snapdragon S2 processor, which it screams on the One S. But that's a really good one. Okay, so hold that up.
Look at that.
People watching the video, this is a really good example of the differences in the display between the One S and the One X. The One S has Super AMOLED QHD pentile display, and the One X is Super LCD 2. The One X is actually 1280 by 720 display versus 960 by 540. So the resolution is actually much better on the One X. But as you can kind of see just from the pixels themselves, what you're seeing there, and what my eyes totally cannot unsee anymore, is that pentile rigidness around icons. I cannot unsee it on the One S, and it was really my only major complaint with it.
If you're watching video,
go away! It's getting bigger and bigger. So that's a really good indication on the verge of exactly what you're seeing. But I would just recommend to you, pick up the phone yourself and use it for a few minutes and see if you see it, because you might not. Leo even was playing around with this, and he was like, I don't think it's as bad as it is on the Galaxy Nexus. Meanwhile, I think the opposite.
Phone,
I think the opposite completely. So anyways, two great phones released by HTC. I think it's a really good kind of new direction for them. Yeah. They've really kind of honed their design aesthetic. Sense 4, better than old versions of Sense.
That's the one thing. I've never had an HTC phone with running Sense. I had the Nexus One, which was an HTC phone, but that was stock Google. It was stock Android, so I never had Sense. And I loved that phone because it was the metal, and it felt like it felt substantial in my hand. Yeah. And then I moved over to Samsung, and I've been rolling Samsung, as well as I stayed Nexus because I don't want to say bloatware, because whatever say, but I've never had Sense. But I liked that phone, and so I like the hardware.
Ooh.
But
Are you thinking?
No. I'm still. This is far too.
Okay. Too precious.
Yes. In fact, I feel bad talking about it badly this close to it. So I hope it doesn't hear me.
I hope it doesn't do bad things for you.
I know. Yeah. This phone has been great though. The Galaxy Nexus has been a dream.
I'm sure ultimately you could root and ROM this. Sure. If that isn't already online, I haven't checked, to be honest. Yeah. But there's no removable battery, no SD card slot on the One S.
Interesting.
So those are a few things that'll keep people away from this.
Yeah. But I feel like the SD card slot is becoming a thing of the past somewhat.
Well, especially when you talking about cloud storage earlier. This comes with 2 years of 25 gigs of storage on Dropbox.
There you go.
On top of whatever you might already have.
I've got some raw format photos that I could get up on there.
Exactly.
I could fill that up.
4K video. Throw it in your Dropbox.
Do it.
There we go. All right, what do you have? You have some cool stuff.
You know what? I have a few cool things. So the first thing that I want to show you in my Kindle Fire case is actually the new Galaxy Tab 2 7.0, not the Galaxy Tab.
Oh, wait a minute. You threw me for a loop.
I did throw you for a loop. This is actually the thing that I'm going to be talking about today. And I'm actually, I'm very positive about this. And I still will make a positive review for Before You Buy. And I'm not talking about it today, but, on Sunday, Nicole Lee, our products producer, threw the Asus Transformer Pad TF300 in my lap with the keyboard dock.
Did she actually throw it in your lap?
She threw it. She's like, "Here, take it."
That's how strong this thing is.
I teased on Twitter that I was going to use this throughout the show, but I have to say I'm sorry. Google Mobile Docs, which we use for this show, is absolutely horrific, and I cannot use it.
It was fun watching you try to use it.
It was fun watching. Yeah, during our interview with Matt, I was trying to scroll up and down on using Docs, and it was just unusable. I mean, terrible. This is, I'll just make a quick comment that this is pretty darn good. And $380 for the tablet itself, and then $154.
Wow, $380
makes it a really
for
good
that tablet.
price
That's
point
a solid
for a tablet that is just slightly, in specs lower than the Prime, just slightly. And you get colors, like the blue one's going to be out, and then the red.
And it's got that cool...
soon.
Yeah.
It's like a plastic ridge here instead of the metallic. Some people don't like it because they want the metallic top, but I disagree. I think this is better, and I think the metallic surface did some bad things for GPS and for the camera.
Interesting.
On the Prime. So I'll talk about this a little bit more next week, but I just wanted to show that off because we have it here, and it's a pretty darn cool device. But really quickly, the mini review here for the Galaxy Tab 2 7.0. The cool thing about this, it's actually it was the first to ship with ice cream sandwich. And also, it is $250.
Wow.
Everybody. $250. That's only Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi only device. It's 7-inch. Is a PLS display, and PLS stands for plane to line switching, which Samsung is touting like you could see and the view on any kind of angle here on many better angles. Yeah. You guys can see this. You guys.
You're holding it that way.
Pretend we're on the bus. And
okay, and you're trying to read over my shoulder. Yeah. 1024 by 600 pixels. Oh, my secret email. It's dual core, and it's got 1 gig of RAM and 8 gigs of storage. But you can, it's got SD card slots, so you can expand it to 32. It's pretty snappy. It's pretty handy. It's pretty light. I'm a big fan of the 7 to 8 inch tablet size. And let's see here. Oh, apparently, and I didn't know this, but Samsung provides 50 gigs of free Dropbox storage for a year on top of that with this device. Now, it does have a 3-megapixel camera on the back, which is kind of crappy, and also just a VGA camera out on front. Not many people use the cameras for their tablets, but, it's there just in case you want to, or if there's some apps that you want to use. Again, it's also $250. At this point, I say get this over the Kindle Fire because you can put the Amazon App Store on here. You get the Google Play Store as well. And the only thing, ICS on, let me show you this really quick here. Just like the Samsung 7.7, which I absolutely adored, and this is not as thin as the 7.7, but whatever, it's still pretty light. It has this little mini dock here with some of these Samsung
cool.
And
you can customize
apps.
that.
And you can customize it, and you can play like that, and kind of. Of course, Samsung comes out first.
Wow, that's a loud speaker.
It's a loud speaker, but it's actually really good, right?
Yeah, that's really. I'm impressed by that.
The speakers are down here below.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with this device. I gotta say, for $250, even though this is really impressive, and especially even though this is really impressive for $380. If you're looking for a smaller device, and if you're looking, maybe the Kindle Fire or whatever, I gotta say,
has the video on it?
The video is actually pretty decent. Let's see if I can launch. Now we're going to be dependent on Wi-Fi here, but I think I have Netflix on here. Let's see. Let me launch
You got something against Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi tends to not work for me all the time. Okay,
really? Okay,
sorry.
cut away. I'm pro Wi-Fi. I generally, we've talked about this before. We were talking about how I've never had a device that's been 3G or being connected to a network type thing. But every time I'm on Wi-Fi, I prefer Wi-Fi. I figure that's the better kind of connection you can get. I get the gym and...
Wi-Fi experience for me has been pretty shoddy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Netflix loaded pretty fast here. I wanted to finish this episode of Bones. Let's watch that.
Now's a good time.
Now's a great time, right? I have to say, again, just very, very decent tablet for $250. Well done, Samsung. And finally, ICS. It's just, and people are like, well, what's the difference really? It's snappier. Obviously,
there's plenty of differences.
There's plenty of differences, I think.
And one thing that I'm noticing, especially when you're talking about devices that have ice cream sandwich but also have the overlay, like that's one thing with Sense 4, is that there's a lot of bloat, right?
Yeah.
But ice cream sandwich has the ability to hide those apps from your tray. So you can just do that. So that's like one way, one of quite a few ways that ice cream sandwich, even though you have an overlay, makes it considerably better. Especially and on a tablet experience, ice cream sandwich is so much better than honeycomb.
There's a couple things that I miss on the vanilla, like Asus is close to vanilla as you can get. So the folders are actually folder looking. They're not like the circles that you get on an ICS tablet, and then you can drag. You have to add.
Yeah, they like to differentiate.
That I don't like, but that's just minor gripe. And they don't really load too much on here. Samsung preloaded stuff, and obviously I kept it here so you guys could see what it would look like out of the box. I would not make my tablet look like that out of the box. I would change it right away, but this is what you'd see. So overall, really positive experience for $250. I say get the Galaxy Tab 2 7.0 for $250.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Email time.
Email time. So some reactions to the violence of last week's episode. Edgar writes in and says, I love All About Android, but I'm dreading to write this email. When I saw episode 56 and Nicole Lee brought the Sony smartwatch and everyone disliked it. just for the record, to step away from the email. I didn't so much dislike it. I was having fun with Nicole's dislike of it. But still, anyway, I don't care either way. Edgar says, I currently own the Sony Live View watch, and before that, beta tested the Impulse smartwatch for BlackBerry and Android. What I don't think you guys understood about these devices is they are meant to be accessories, not an independent device. At work and at school, while we're looking at your phone is constantly to be reading a text message, email, phone calls is not looked at nicely. So looking at your watch and determining if it's important enough to take out your phone to respond is a lifesaver. Another place it's helpful is at the movies, so you don't blind people to your bright screen if you're, spelled U-R, waiting for an emergency call or text. I hope I broadened your view on these watches a little bit. Android lover for life. And so we shared Edgar's response with Nicole, and her retort was, fair enough, but seems to be a limited use case. Which
she's still not happy with that.
I mean, the thing is that that device, he's right. It's an accessory, and I think we nailed it. We touched upon it in between the madness. Was that it's a external screen to access your phone. Mm-hmm. It's another display, and that's really all it is. And the thing is that like I'm excited when we get a full functioning phone in the shape of that watch, which I don't think we're that far off from. Mm-hmm. So why doesn't somebody do that? I don't know. That's my thing. But
baby steps, Ron.
Baby steps, indeed.
We'll get there.
So speaking of baby steps, let's move on to apps. So my beloved Google TV got a little bit of news. I got a little heads up to this last week. I participated in the Google TV super fan, as they're calling it, hangout, which is pretty cool to talk to some other folks here how they're using Google TV. But what was interesting and what I found out was that they were making an update to the TV and Movies app, which comes default stock on a Google TV when you get it. And what that app is a way to discover TVs and movies available to watch both on television as well as available on the web via Netflix or Amazon, etc. I really like the app because it's a great way to find out where things were available. Google, for whatever reason, which is a good choice, decided to do a pretty substantial update to this to the app, which rolled out late last week. So basically, what they've done now is the kind of key hit things is that it was pretty limited in terms of what shows that the app listed. Now they've expanded it, so they've included pretty much every TV show, movie, sports game, or anything else that you'd ever want to watch you can browse within the TV and Movies app. You can now rate shows. So, for example, you can, very similar to Netflix, on a 5-star rating, you can say, okay, great, Bones, I give a 4 stars, Gossip Girl, I give a 5, et cetera, Mythbusters, give a 5. And based off that, the TV and Movies app can make recommendations to you based off your preferences. So I literally sat in front of my TV for about a half an hour just rating things, and actually the UI, for those who have a Google TV and you're curious about the updated OS on Google TV using animations and things like that, this is probably the most progressive UI app that I've seen Google develop for the Google TV. It looks really nice. And Chad, if you can pull back up the second screen on that blog post, that's where you can see the recommendations. I think we lost Chad. Scroll down. Yeah, so that's the recommendation screen. So what happens is that on the left, you're scrolling up and down through titles and you're rating them, and then those movie posters on the right are dynamically changing based off your ratings, like instantaneous. Okay. And they kind of shuffle. Like, it was really cool. It was really, really neat. So yeah, and they've also got reminders in there, so you could say, hey, listen, I love AMC. Make sure you tell me when shows are on AMC and that sort of thing. It's really plugged more into the TV watching and experience than previously. So it just made a cool app even cooler.
Does that also catalog videos that you have stored on your local machine, or is it?
It does not. It's just it's just studio based, presented on via a channel or via Netflix or whatever. Yeah.
That would make for a massive app.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are apps in the market that, or the Play Store, that do that.
Yeah, like Plex, and there's starting to be some more and more video kind of. Here you go. You can see it actually in action. There you go. Look at Chad.
I need to get a Google TV. I know I've said that before.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
It's really.
It was funny because on that hangout, there's a dude, I forget his name, but he was like, "Yeah, no, it's a great ambient device. You just leave it on the background." And I was like, "No, I'm in it. It's like an active device." And so it's interesting to see those two different kind of points of view. But
I think there's any possibility that a Google TV device of some sort is one of the things that I/O attendees Like, would that be a priority?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be
Can I
cool.
walk out with a...
No, well,
Like a-
I'm
like a
not
new-
going, so
like
I'm
a-
not walking
true.
out
Neither
with
am I.
anything.
Like a new
but-
review.
But
Yeah.
I guess that would kind of show Google's further commitment
Yep.
and dedication to Google TV if that happened. That's
Yeah.
certainly what they did last year with the tablet. So
Yeah, well, I'm loving the Google TV, and this update was great. So Google TV, still rolling.
radical.
All right. I don't know. A year ago, maybe a little less than that, I reviewed an app called Read It Later, which you guys all voted me to the top to win that week in the arena. But guess what? They changed their name.
I didn't realize that was
love-
your app. I
That
still
was my
use
app.
that.
Yeah, I love. Well, you use it in a different way now, don't
know.
you? Because Read It Later has now become Pocket, and the URL is getpocket.com, and it's a little bit more visually appealing. It actually looks really, really awesome on a tablet.
That is pretty.
And here it is. So, do I have the brightness up too much?
That's a
Chad?
nice tablet.
Isn't that a nice tablet? Here, I'll turn it down a little bit. So it's a little bit more visual. You can actually look at it in a list view as well. But when you save everything, if you use Read It Later, all of your bookmarkings, on Chrome or whatever, all of your extensions, they still work. It's just now it goes here and it's called Pocket. But what do you guys think? I mean, honestly, it's just visual. There is a blog post from the CEO of, I guess, Pocket now, and he says, also the app is free now. Everything is free. There's no pro version or whatever.
Cool.
And the reason why is, well, they're building a new model for, and they haven't really announced how they're going to make any money yet. But they said the $299 price point for the pro version, and then only. And someone using it for 4 years doesn't really translate to a lot of money. So I know we've talked in the past about, do we pay for the free app with the ads, or do we pay for the $299, pro version? I don't know. They seem to think it's not worthwhile for them.
Well, because once, like you said, it's the kind of app that you use so regularly
Yep.
Yeah.
that they would probably stand to gain a lot more from the ads than they would for the paid.
Right. So the app is still here, and it's free, and it's a little more visually appealing, I have to say.
cool.
I've been hearing if you use the web version, I saw like a bar on the web version says coming soon, new
Oh yeah, and you
look.
could check
Yeah.
out the beta of that. That's how I've been using Read It Later on the web for a few months, and it looks very similar to that.
I mean, it's the continuing magazinification of content.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it's you're getting to the point where your ability to absorb content by flagging it in these kind of aggregators, and similar to what Flipboard's doing on the iPad and this sort of thing, and then putting it in a visually appealing way is really for us who absorb so many blogs and so many RSS feeds, it's getting like a more fun way to interact with that content.
Yeah,
so it's cool
absolutely.
to see.
So I actually applaud the new look. I like anything.
I
that's
like it a
visually
lot.
appealing. And that's what it looks like. Well, you're showing the iPhone, but that's pretty much what it looks like on
Zoom
the
in,
Android
zoom
as
in. No
well.
one will notice. Zoom in.
Oh yeah, people will notice.
The iPad in there.
There's no way of avoiding
Not
it.
only are they pretty girls, but they're using iOS devices.
Well, it looks the same on Android
Yes,
and
it
on
does.
the phone. So there we go. So, anyways, that's the new version of
Yeah, I
Read
like it
Later
a
as
lot.
Pocket.
I like it a lot. And finally, this is just a real quick hit, but we keep hearing these little rumblings about Google Drive, and sure enough, there was an Android developers hangout. I think it was yesterday, and during the hangout, one of an employee of Google was showing something off on their device, and when he went to share, which I think is about 18 seconds in, it's coming up here, he clicks on share, and then if you pause it, Chad, once he puts share on,
Come on, share.
pause, you see that second icon? It says Drive.
Oh. Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, it does. The plot thickens. So, okay, if you didn't already believe it before,
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah, it's coming.
not that
Google's-
anyone had any doubt at this point.
love
This
how
thing's been in the
blurry
coming
that
for like
Google's
years.
starting to do more of these like developer hang. I mean, that's what the Google TV thing I was on was. It was a hangout, and like they're starting to get more public with what they're doing. It's getting interesting. So
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Drive. I mean, this ties into our discussion earlier with cloud storage, which is like, gosh, do we need another cloud storage
if they're
service? But
smart,
sure,
they get
why not?
if they're smart with Google Drive, they get Gosling
They what?
to be their spokesman.
Oh, for like the movie Drive.
Right?
I get it.
There you go. Then there'd be a video of pretty girls using Google devices with Drive. There you go.
Interesting.
What was the meme?
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
I got you all this cloud storage.
Well, somebody make that, please.
Yes,
Before
please. Yeah, in the chat room, make it.
Ryan Gosling, hey girl.
Yeah, from with the jacket, with the scorpion jacket. Come on, you guys can do it.
Come on, guys, let's do it. We've got it. We've got the arena to go through.
Yeah.
All right. So one quick email, I guess I'll read. This is from Josh Anderson. He says, love the show. I keep up to date with your episodes from the app Dogcatcher. I'm a Verizon sales rep that is supporting the Galaxy Nexus, which is unlocked and rooted. I also went out and got the Sony Blu-ray Google TV. I need to thank Ron for replying back to my tweet about the Blu-ray player. The question is, and I'm sure you've talked about it before, but I can't remember. I'm looking for an app that notifies me that notifies me and my to-do or tasks by location. Any help will be appreciated. Keep up the good work with the show. We figured that Locale does this, and in combination with Astrid.
With Astrid.
Astrid?
Astrid.
Yeah, it's Astrid, right?
No idea.
So Locale, I think it's a $6.99.
That's a fascinating use case. So, like, if I get close to Safeway, stop and pick up milk.
Yes.
Right.
That's pretty cool. Someone should make an app that just does that together instead of
Does
Locale
Remember
with
the
Astrid.
Milk do that?
I don't know if
Somebody
it's
in
got
chat
any
room
location.
saying, remember the milk ?
I don't think it does that.
If it has location.
Maybe.
I have to imagine that there is an app that does this. This
Well,
just
we know.
happens to be the one that we found.
Right.
There's got to be some others out
Locale
there.
is a little, it's kind of a more elegant Tasker. Like Tasker is really, I don't want to say, it's hardcore. So you got to mess with it a little bit more. And Locale is a little more pleasant, a little more easy to use. I think it's like $6.99 in the Play Store. Haha, I said that right off the bat. And it does a lot. And I kind of figured that would be the app that would do it. But you just pair it with Astrid, and there you go.
There you go.
So
cool.
if
That's a
there's
cool application.
Yeah, and if there's any anybody out there who has another solution, let us know.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's take a quick break and thank our other sponsor. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Netflix.
Oh, I'm going to finish watching Bones while you do this.
Okay, you do that. Netflix streams thousands of TV episodes, including Bones, and movies directly to you instantly, saving you time, money, and hassle. There are a bazillion, some might say, ways to watch instant streaming. You can watch it on your Mac, your PC, your iOS devices if you happen to have one of those. You can watch it on your Android device. Hey, what do you know? You can get it on your tablet or your phone. Netflix is also found on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Nintendo Wii, just tons of different ways that you can watch their content. You can watch all these things streamed to you instantly, so you can start a movie or a show on one device, then you can transfer it to the other. The uptick time for when you start it is super fast, and based on your connection speed, improves your quality that you're seeing.
The Google TV app is fantastic. I was watching Dance Academy last night on it.
There you go,
It's
Google
gotta be.
TV for the win.
Yep.
And being able to watch it on one device and then move on to the other one is just a really
that's
cool
what's just
feature.
amazing. I mean, I'll start watching an episode of Voltron at the gym, and I won't finish it, and I'll go home and I pull it up on Google TV, and it knows where I left off. Like it's perfect. It's great. Yeah,
it's cool. Whichever way you choose to access Netflix, you can watch as many movies, TV shows as you want, anytime you want. And you can cancel at any time. So why don't you do yourself a favor if you haven't already? Try Netflix for 30 days for free. Go to netflix.com/twit. Be sure to use that URL when you sign up for your free trial. It's netflix.com/twit. We thank you, Netflix, for your support of Twit and All About Android. And we hope that you, yes, you enjoy watching instantly with Netflix. So go do that. And but don't do that yet, because we have to battle in the arena.
2 enter, 1 lives. Android Arena.
So how long have we been doing the show? Like
What?
A year? We've been doing the show a year plus, a year plus.
and change.
Took me a year to learn, to figure it out.
What? For the games?
I figured it out.
Games don't always win,
Yeah,
though.
they don't.
Well,
They don't.
I'm just telling you right now.
I think people like to run.
Is that what you think it is?
Running games.
I think our crew, our audience likes running.
Yeah.
So every week you should do a running game.
Well, I'm testing a
And
theory this
one
week.
week, review The Running Man, the movie.
Right, that's on Netflix.
And, yes, on Netflix.
And I listened to the audiobook of the book the movie's based on Audible. So there you go,
Yeah, see? You
Yeah,
got
look at that.
all bases
See what I
covered.
did? See what I did?
Then Ron will be full of wind. So if you haven't guessed by now,
Talk
Ron
about
has
full
won.
of win. Although Tech Asian chat room just noted that I win, but I'm still losing. Which he says Ronixo wins.
And you didn't
but is
run
still
away
losing.
with it. I had a lot of Bling. Hey, there was a lot of
Blingboard was a very
support.
cool app, by the way. Very cool app. So
Yeah.
I was thinking Blingboard was going to win. Early returns showed Blingboard in the lead.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I always thought
Cannabalt.
Cannabalt.
So Cannabalt won with 143 votes. Blingboard had 113, and Cloud Music Sniper, while good, but very specific.
You know,
in
a
his
lot
application.
of people love Google Music
46
as an app.
Yeah, so do
Yeah.
I. Yeah.
Or Play Music.
So the current standings
I hate
are,
that name.
as Tech Ace just informed us, I am currently in last with 4 wins, and you guys are tied for first with 5 wins each.
See, so this is going to be kind of crummy for me because I'm out of town for 3 weeks.
Sucks for you, Jason.
So you guys are just going to rack up the points. No, you know what? I hope the guest wins every single week.
We need to figure out some sort of percentage or something like that, like to balance it out. There's some sort of,
You know, it's
somebody
my
who knows
fault
math come up with some sort of adjuster or some sort
You know
of
what?
index.
It's payback for me lying on a beach. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Don't remind me of that fact.
So-
by the way.
Oh,
I'm
and
still
then send him
guilty.
photos. He gets mad at that.
Oh, I guess so. Oh, yeah.
He gets so mad. Will you stop
You
tweeting
have no
your
idea.
photos,
Eileen and Tom on vacation is an endless array of photos of feet and pools and beaches and food and drinks, and it's just like, oh, what's going on? Oh, their life is better than mine.
Well, we decided to take 1 week to make it better than
great,
yours.
which is as you just both deserve.
doesn't
So.
last that
Oh,
long.
in the chat room. I'll go ahead
No
and.
way.
All right, so
What?
this is a little diversion,
Okay,
but
sorry.
let me see
Little diversion
here
to
where
Ron's win here.
I'm going to
but-
go ahead in the chat room right next to the poll.
Come
I'm
on,
going to
Chad, you
paste
gotta
in
look at this
an image URL. It's next
Chad,
to this week's
for you.
Face Off.
Thank you,
And
whoever did
the
this.
site is working. It's very slow to update.
Is
There
this
we go.
breaking
It's
news?
ready for you to take.
Is
Come
this
on,
breaking
Chad.
news?
It's breaking
And
news.
if you do,
No,
this
breaking
is breaking news. Cyrus M in the chat room has some breaking news. Ryan Gosling.
That's
Hey,
awesome.
Google Drive, call me. Hey, Google.
Drive, call me. I love it.
Thank
Right
There
on.
we go. Cywiz M.
Yeah, hey, Google.
FTW.
God.
Thank you for that.
Call me.
So
Just
awesome.
don't look into his eyes. You'll get lost.
so
Don't
much
do it.
cloud storage.
No,
so much
go
cloud
away.
storage.
I love Google Drive.
There's too much data in the cloud. Move.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you for that.
All right, let's arena it.
Back to the battle. Back to getting
Let's do
rough
it.
and tumble. Let's do it. All right. So my app, since I'm the loser this week, I was looking at a few different things, and one that caught my eye is called After Focus. It is a free app right now. They have a paid version coming. It's not released yet with extra support. But right now it's free. It's ad supported. The free version, so essentially what this app is it allows you to take a photo that you have stored on your phone and do kind of a rack focus effect. I don't know how best to describe this, but kind of that you see in a lot of DSLR pictures. So you see some of these examples. You see the before, everybody in this
like-
kind of picture with depth
Yeah.
is in focus. The after is you take the person closest to the camera and he's in focus,
Well,
and
that's
then
cool.
everything else spans out. This is another example. Go back for a second. This is another example of what you can do. You can take your foreground and have it in color, remove it from the background, and you can kind of set based on how you kind of paint on the photo, you can set certain things to be like half color or no color or whatever. But there are other things that do this. Photoshop, I would imagine, is probably one really easy way to do this with really great quality. And I'm sure this app will get to some of the shortcomings of this app. We'll kind of get there eventually. But I really like where the developer of this app has started, and I can kind of give you a walkthrough as a quick example here. So this is my daughter. She's at the window. I know. I figured this was.
totally using the cue.
Using the kid to win
all
this
I figured
week.
I was going to get a
Pulling
little
all the
ooze on that one.
stops.
All right. But this was a really easy one to say what's foreground and what's background,
Sure
right?
it
She's
is.
in the foreground.
Yeah.
Ron is mad.
All right, so Chad, so this is just the example that I start off with. I'm going to, I forgot to turn the touches on. Oh, well, we're going to have to deal with it. It's going to switch to landscape. Oh, you got it. All right, so this is the app, and basically what you see there is I have drawn foreground, and then I've drawn what is the background. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this. This is kind of what you end up with. If I erase this, you end up with your pictures. So I can do things like set this to focus. It turns everything on, set background to that, and you start kind of, etching away at it. You got a little undo button up here, but you can basically kind of go through and kind of paint it. so that you can get rid of what's foreground and background. If you really wanted to add extra depth to it, you could use mid, and I could do that on these bushes if I hadn't already drawn those big ugly lines on it. But I'm not going to do that. If I've done this correctly, when I go forward, it'll give me my effect, and it looks a little.
That's cool.
It looks a little, not so great right now because I didn't really work on the edges very well. But you can take this blur and really ramp it up so that you can get that separation. I can drop it down and it goes away. If you have something like you've taken a picture of someone playing soccer, like was one of the examples, you can put on this motion blur and it ends up smearing the background. So it makes it look like it's moving and the person that you have as your subject is
Jason
not.
and I love photography apps.
Yeah, this one's a lot of fun.
I'm literally installing it as you do.
I've had a lot of fun playing around with this. I open it and then I spend 20 minutes like working on a picture. Even though you could totally open up Photoshop and do this in like 10 seconds,
Yeah,
but I don't use Photoshop on the bus.
At Photoshop. I'm one of those, you suck at Photoshop, so this is easier.
So there's a fading background, and this might be a little harder to see. You don't see anything right now because I don't have the blur on. But basically what it does is it mimics the fact. So basically, the closer you are to the bottom of the screen, the more in focus it is. The further you are from the bottom of the screen or closer to the top, the more out of focus it is. So what it does is it kind of virtualizes the depth of field. It says that anything closer to the screen is probably closer to your subject, therefore is in more focus, more in focus than further away. There's a couple of other filters in here. One thing that I like is the color mask. And again, these edges aren't great because I didn't spend a lot of time drawing on this. But that's how you basically have color in the foreground, nothing in the background. If I had set that mid-tone on some of these things, those elements would be half color. And then your typical other, like cross-processing, vintage, whatever. And then there's a couple of other filters in here, vignette, bokeh, which does this. It's hard to really explain exactly what this looks like, but things tend to have a little bit more, contrast to them, a little kind of a blurred contrast to them.
Well, they have those little like fainted circles, those little dots.
Yeah.
It seems to be bokeh.
Yeah.
Too.
Really good on cityscapes, I think, is one example that they give. If you have a cityscape in full focus and then you do this, then it's going to make it kind of glisten and look all crystally and stuff. Sticker, which is like an outline, which I probably would never use, and sharpen, which I don't like to digitally sharpen things like this. Aperture is one of those things that anytime I ever select it, I never actually see a difference. Maybe I'm using it wrong. Maybe it's just a feature that hasn't been built into this yet, but it's in here as a placeholder. But I'll just go back real quick and show you this isn't the only way that you can paint it. You can actually switch modes up here, and you can do it manually. So I will go ahead and erase this, and then I can kind of go in and select my brush, focus, and I can paint it more like what you might see if you were using Photoshop, and you can kind of go through and paint it up. Overall, it's just kind of a fun app to kind of get lost in. I had a lot of fun playing around with it. It looks horrible because I didn't even finish it. I think in the paid version that's coming soon, this little take two photos option will be open down at the bottom. And that essentially means what you can do is you can take a picture of something and then shift slightly and then take another picture of the same thing. And it will smartly compare the two photos and be able to tell you what's close and what's far and be able to kind of give you that effect based on the differences between the two and also the similarities. If I understand it, that's what it's going to be.
Does it do HDR?
It doesn't do HDR, not right out of the gate. Maybe they'll add that eventually. It really feels like they put out the free version to kind of get you starting to play with it, and
then they're going to ramp it up and add more stuff.
But kind of the UI and the experience of playing around with it is just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to kind of get lost in. You are limited to an 800 pixel image on the free version, 1600 pixel limit on the paid version. I hope that kind of opens up to more than that. But again, this is just to kind of play around with it, and you're out nothing. It's completely free. So it's called After Focus. Check it out in Google Play.
Cool.
Yep, that's it.
Awesome. Gonna download. Okay, I guess it's my turn. Mine is a very simple app. Won't take me long to discuss, but every once in a while, there's tons of note applications out there. Evernote, for one, SpringPad, Catch. We've talked about a lot of them. A lot of them have a lot more, features than I really need. And maybe sometimes I just want to jot a few notes down super quick. Just want the text. That's it. I found an app called Fetchnotes, and it's free in the Google Play Store. And first of all, it has a cute little doggy as its mascot. Fetchnotes, haha. But it's also cross-platform. So, if you have an Android device and an iOS device, or if you have, if you have an Android device and your friend has an iOS device, you can see some of these notes. Basically, it's super simple. Let me show you what it looks like here. I'll show you on the tablet versus on the phone. You can't really see that. Can you see this? Maybe you can get super closer on here. Yeah. So essentially, I've just written a few notes and I put a hashtag with it. And then when I go up and I pull up here, I see all the different hashtags. And then what I can do here, let me look at my TWiT hashtag. I need to find a security now, TD. Chad, can you do that? Yeah. Thanks. All right, cool. And then I just made a few notes. But the way you do your notes, and it's kind of like trying to borrow from ICS a UI. So you go to the left, you swipe to the left, and then you type a note. Eat cupcakes. And then I'm just going to do pound.
Hashtag Ron.
Hashtag Ron. There we go. Hashtag Ron. And then when I'm done with that, I swipe back to the right. Eat cupcakes. There's a hashtag Ron. And there it is. Ron, a hashtag. If I wanted to see all the hashtags with Ron and TWiT, nope, there's none. I would have had to tag.
Right.
Tagged.
So you can do multiple hashtags?
You can do multiple hashtags on here. And there's also a web component. So you can go to fetchnotes.com and you can add your notes there. And then it'll be sunk up to your phone or your tablet at the same time. There's also some other, you can actually text and voice your notes as well. You'll be given a number and you could do that. And pretty soon they'll add email as well. It's a super, super simple app.
Is that so it's just literally putting in the
text information. Yeah. So I was, we have a condo that we're going to be renting out, and the guy, I was meeting with a property manager. He was telling me all this stuff, and I was like, oh my God, I just need a really quick notepad kind of thing and something to keep all my notes. And I don't need much more than just the text. So that's what I was doing. Okay, so I've got a loud fan. I've got a smoke alarm that I need to move to the front room. I need to get a carbon monoxide alarm. Actually, I've done that already. Anyways, that's Fetchnotes. It's really simple and easy to use, and I really like it. If you need a quick note-taking app, there you go.
Cool. Fetchnotes. Ron.
All right. So I am testing a theory. And based off the success of Cannonball last week and winning, I'm like, hey, I'll try another game. But it also ties into the fact that I've been diving in head first into games.
And what's up with that?
Well, with the new phone.
You kept messing with me. Oh,
I know.
Well,
like
games.
I said, I've learned. I've watched. Now the student has become the master. No, this just happens to be the fact that I got a new phone. I'm playing with it. And I've been bored on BART and on the bus. And so I'm like, let me see what I can find. And so after I got Cannonballed, I'm like, let me see what games are out there. And I got to admit that the games are starting to mature. They really are. Maybe I'm late. I know I'm late to the game. Excuse the pun.
So late.
But so I was, and this totally was, I stumbled upon this game not through any recommendation or anything I downloaded another game. I downloaded a game called Panic Flight. Have you seen that one? Where you're flying a plane and you got to
the word panic doesn't really work for me. Yeah.
And plus flight. Yeah.
But panic and flight, that's what I usually am normally.
What was interesting is that when you loaded that game, it had a load screen that showed a bunch of other games. And there was one on there. I'm like, that looks interesting. And I tapped on it. And it is called Babel Rising. And basically what it is it's the idea of, here we go, portrait. So in this game, you are God. And it's loading. That's why it's black. You can go back to me and I'll talk. There you go. So the people of Babel are trying to build a tower, and you have 7 different methods to smite them. And the idea is to not let them build the tower. Oh my
God.
And I gotta admit, I haven't had this much fun playing a game in a long time. So
since
here you go.
Last week.
I got to play since last week.
Last week's running game.
So I'm just gonna tap play here, and I'm just do classic. And so basically, what happens is that the villagers are building the tower, and then around in the upper part of the thing, there's a bunch of little buttons, and they recharge. So you see this one here on the left allows me to just smite one person. So I'm going to tap this one on the left, and then he's going to die.
I love how it's smiting.
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to smite you.
Oh, no. So I'm sorry. So the tapping, I just tap on people, and then they die, right? And then up here, I got the lightning bolt. And it uses different gestures, so you don't need to tap any of these. So for lightning bolt, I just swipe down vertically, and a bolt of lightning happens. It hasn't recharged. So I have to do that. Additionally, if you swipe horizontally, the wind blows and it knocks people over. If you do a 2-finger swipe horizontally, you can do, and it's kind of hard, you do a tsunami. And there's actually, I don't have
a lot of bang
audio.
for your buck.
I forgot we don't have the audio cable, do we? The audio is actually pretty good. But in addition to the tsunami, there's also you do a 2-finger swipe down and it rains fire. Right?
Do you not feel bad for these people?
Not at all. I am God. I smite thee. And so what happens is that now what I found is that you will never keep them from making the tower. They will eventually. It's kind of like Lemmings, if you remember that old game.
Oh yeah.
They will eventually overpower you, and it gets really hard to keep up. So what you need to do is you need to figure out, okay, well the finger tapping that recharges really quickly. And so you could do that really quickly as you're watching like the tsunami build up and the firestorm build up and the whatchamacallit, the wind blowing one. So here, I'll do that one. That's about 2/3 of the way through. So I'll go like that and it'll wipe a bunch of people off. This eye in the sky, this is the mega one that when that eye goes really wide and goes to blink, you tap it and it wipes out a level of the tower and just destroys everything. What's also cool here in the bottom right, you see this is an earthquake. So if you shake the phone, and it's not charged up, so I can't do it. But if you shake the phone, the whole thing earthquakes and everybody dies. So it's
I like how everybody dies is at the end.
Yeah, and so the idea is that
I'm going to eat my cupcakes and everybody dies.
Exactly. Yeah. So as I'm sitting on the bus, I can basically kill people, and it's a lot of fun because I am God and I'm benevolent.
It's a lot of fun to kill people.
Exactly. And what happens is they slowly build the tower up higher and higher.
Oh yeah, they're getting that.
Yeah, exactly. But
they're getting that built. Well, they're faster.
Yeah, it's hard
They
to
just
see.
Took some steroids.
There you go. We can do a little firestorm. There we go. See? And so the idea is to try to keep them from building the tower as high as you can for as long as you can. And the more people you kill, the more points you get. And the idea is to get a higher score. So Babel Rising, it's a big download. It's like 27 meg. It's one of those ones where they recommend you do it over Wi-Fi. But I did it over my new phone, and it was fine. It downloaded just in a couple minutes. And it's a ton of fun.
That looks like a lot.
There you go. So Babel Rising.
So much fun.
Yeah, it is $1.99 though, so it's going to cost you money.
I'm going to have to download that for my flights.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, seriously. And like the sound effects, I know we didn't have the audio here because I forgot that they were good sound. But like when they die, they go and and when you do the wind blowing, they go oh, yeah. Right. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. It was a surprisingly large amount of fun. So.
Right.
And I'm almost at the point of an earthquake. So
that's great.
Yeah.
All right, so you can vote on your favorite app from this week's episode. Is it After Focus? Is it Fetchnotes? Or is it Babel Rising?
Do you need to smite?
Are you in the mood for some smiting? Yep. For some smitage? Go to bit.ly/AAA57poll. bit.ly/AAA57poll and let us know what you think was the best app this week. And we will tell you the results on next week's show. Well, you guys will. I won't. I'm going to be relaxing.
Dude, you might win, too. And look at that.
I don't know. We'll see.
I'm being patient.
Chad, I'm almost at an earthquake. Wait, here. Cut back to me.
Oh, no.
You ready?
Okay, let's do the earthquake.
Wait, no. Cut to the phone. Cut to the phone.
Oh, the phone.
All right, ready?
Oh.
And it just killed everybody.
Wait, no. Oh, are those people going to die, too?
I killed them.
Oh, okay.
I smited them.
Okay. It's too bad that you can't then, with the earthquake, like knock the building down a couple of levels.
Well, that's the thing. That's the eyeball. The eyeball knocks a level down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That's really special, though.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Really special.
Yes.
Let's wrap this up,
great.
kids.
That's a lot. All right. We got to wrap it up. Okay, let's get to the cupcakes. We have cupcakes staring at us. Let's smite the cupcakes here.
Smite the cupcakes.
In a few minutes. All right, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the show. We really appreciate it. It's time for some plug action. Go Ron.
Yeah, real simple. If you like me and my nonsense and smiting, just go to about.me/RonXO. You can find all links to me on Twitter and Facebook and Google+. And ifanboy.com, a daily comic book website that I help run. Check it all out. Good times. And have fun smiting.
And Eileen. Oh,
Eileen.
We're still doing a show.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We've lost her to the cupcake catalog.
I'm trying to figure out which one I want. I have a menu.
You have a menu?
Here
You have
of all
a
the
map?
Cupcakes, yeah. You can find me on Twitter at Eileen TV or just find everywhere that I am at about.me/Eileen Rose.
And you can find me at Jason Howell on Twitter or about.me/Jason Howell. And that is it. There is no more for you. And you don't even get a cupcake. I'm sorry, because we don't have enough for you. But you can come back next week for another episode of All About Android. We will see you then. In the meantime, leave us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA. You can send us an email, send it along a video link to that in that email, and we'll play it on the show. That's AAA@twit.tv. You can find the show on Twitter. We are at Android Show. You can find show notes for this and all other episodes at twit.tv/AAA. And finally, you can catch us live every Monday starting at 5 p.m. Pacific at live.twit.tv. They're totally going to eat one without me. I'm going to be the last person to get a cupcake. I know it.
That one's got bacon on it.
I saw that.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week on another episode. Later.
It smells so good.
Smells so good.
Oh, my Lord.
Dibs on chocolate.
Captain Temerity.
You rule,
Jeez.
dude.